So, coming up on today's show, I found this little guy in my closet. And excuse me. And I wanted to share it with you because this might be a good piece of kit just to have on hand for those times when you need an encoder or a streamer or a converter or something like that. Not bad, but we'll talk more about it. Yeah. When I used it, I liked it. I just didn't have a use for it anymore. So yeah, we'll see in a sec. Vertical wipe reverse. What a transition. I think those are just toys. Transitions, you know. The experts, they're going to use a cut or occasionally a fade or a stinger. Yeah, depending on the genre of live streaming. Welcome, Michael. Welcome, Jesper. Welcome, Bill. Glad to have you here for the live show. OG, glad to have you. It is a good day from the Gulf Coast. Yes, indeedy. He says the Mississippi coast, but it's really the Gulf. Mississippi has a little teeny bit of it. Alabama has a little teeny bit of it. Florida and Texas have most of it. But that's okay. That's okay. Could be worse. What's worse than living in Texas? The Gulf of America. That's right. Indeed. We like the Gulf of America. Let's see if we can keep up with some of these comments here. That's what I was referring to there. The Mississippi coast, which is really the Gulf of America coast. Yeah, Michael, I'm interested to know what Teradek pieces you had. If you've still got it around, I'd love to see a picture of it. My kids are not going to know what to do with my closet. If they are the ones responsible for emptying it after I pass on, what are they going to do with all this stuff? They're going to not even, they're going to go, what is this? What was my dad thinking? That's okay. Yep, I think we all are. From the Gulf of Sweden. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. All right, so Michael says it was a Teradek Vidu. Let's see if we can find that. T-E-R-A-D-E-C-K Vidu. That looks similar. Yeah. Video. There's got the video go now, but let's see what the video is. Ooh, they're expensive. Holy cow. Video. Let's see. Let's go back and not take the go technology. Let's just do the video. It's a live streaming device. Yes. Okay. Yeah, the Video Go was like $1,100. But here's a Video Pro for $30 on eBay. Teradek Video 4G streaming device on eBay for $45. Video X, Video Go. I think it was similar. I mean, it may not have been exactly the same, but it may have been similar function. Let's see. Let's look at this one on eBay. And have I got a screen capture set up? I can show you guys. Let's try a screen cap. Yeah, there we go. So this is what I'm looking at. I mean, that's what I think Michael was talking about. It's a streaming encoder. It takes HDMI in and looks like microphone in, and then Ethernet and power. And then it's got a couple of buttons and a screen. And yeah, and a video. How about that? What do they say about it? Do they say anything interesting? Used. Comes with a 30-day warranty. No AC adapter. How about that? I wonder if is it PoE? Doesn't really say. Not sure if that little sign right there means that it's is it charging? Means it has a battery? Interesting. Interesting. Well, we'll just have to see. Japs has a video in his closet. He was not impressed. It was before PoE time. Huh. Okay, so let's keep up with the comments here. I can't just read them. Okay, it was a low-end consumer all-in-one box. And Michael is giving them away. Just pay for delivery. Hey, hey. And Japs has one, not impressed, before PoE. Gunner's here. Oh, so it was battery powered. Okay, interesting. All right, well, this little guy is not at all. Not at all. Not battery powered, not PoE. So different, probably similar in function, but different creature. Let's see if this is available on eBay. It is called, what's the model number? It's a ENC1. ENC1. Don't see. Well, I see a bunch of stuff in a box. Let me show you what I'm looking at. All right, so scroll up at the top of the page. An ENC1. is a Allen Bradley ENC1 module, new factory sealed incremental encoder. Let's see if it's got a picture of it. Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. This looks like what we're talking about right here. But that's version 3. It's got a bunch of stuff on the side. That's interesting. It's in China. Is this one new? Yes. So it's got 2 USBs, a LAN, power, HDMI in and out, audio in and out, and a RST. Not sure what that is. And it has a screen and some other buttons. Okay, that's interesting. So that's 140 bucks. That probably does the same thing as what we're talking about now. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. I bought this one as, well, let's start the show. Come on, Tom. Start the show. Start the show. Please start the show. Okay, we'll start the show. Ta-da! Thank you, Martin K. So, here's the deal. This little guy, and let me show you a close-up of it. Right there. There we go. This little guy, as you can see from the palm of my hand, is about the size of the palm of my hand. And it's just a little encoder box. It does NDI out, SRT out, HDMI out, HDMI in, and we can see on one end it's USB and volt and power supply and Ethernet, and then on the other end it's got audio in and out. Not sure what DEF is. For those of you that are diesel people, I don't think that's the DEF you're thinking about. And then HDMI in and out, and then on the front the A switch and the B switch. And let me plug it into power. Have power here handy. And it will fire up. It takes a second to boot. It's got an ARM processor in it. And we can see all that in just a minute. And then one of the nice things about it, and I think every piece of kit ought to have this. If it plugs in Ethernet, it ought to tell you what its IP address is. 192.168.1.217. HDMI no input, audio no input, CPUs 24%, temperatures 30, what was that, 36? Yeah, 36. Okay, so let's plug in some Ethernet. I just happen to have some Ethernet handy. That's smart, having Ethernet handy. Here we go. It's pink, but that's okay, it still works. Ethernet plugging in, and I don't think anything changes here. But what does change, and let's see if we can find it here. Let's go to the desktop capture, and we'll put in the URL. So it's 192.168.1.217. And here is the interface. Name. Well, I think it's admin, and I think the password is admin. It didn't come up automatically earlier when I was testing it, but boom, there it is. Don't worry about that. And yeah, the core temp is 40 degrees centigrade. I can feel it warming up. And HDMI, no signal. So let's plug HDMI into it, shall we? Just for fun. I just happen to have an HDMI cable handy. So let's plug HDMI into it. HDMI in, we got to get the right one, or else we'll be in trouble. HDMI in. And now it says HDMI 1920 by 1040 at 60p. Okay, that's right. And that's coming from my little Bird Dog X1 here at the desk, right there. Ooh. And we can see now down here that we're getting the full image from the camera. And what I was showing you, what I showed you here, this is a zoomed image, and it's actually zoomed in vMix because I couldn't get it that close to the camera, or else it wouldn't be clear in the zoom, in the focus. So that's the interface for it. And across the top here, we have the ability to go to an encode situation. So I can see what my main stream is, substream, audio config. Got the HDMI channel. That's the one that's on right now. And I can also go to the stream channel and see that, where is it right here? Maybe it's on the encode channel. We'll go back to the encode channel for just a second. Oh yeah, here we go. Advanced encoding, video encoding, network stream, audio encoding. Well, all that's good, but what I'm looking for is the NDI. So let's go back to stream. None of that looks like NDI. Oh, here we go. NDI configuration. All right, so it's HDMI camera. It's on. So let's go into vMix right here, and I'm just going to put me up there because I've got the ego for it. And we're going to add an input, and it's going to be an NDI input. And there we go, our HDMI camera. That's what it was called on the encoder. And there's the address, 217. Let's bring it in and see what we get. Oh, file name cannot be left blank. What does that mean? Oh, I've got to select it first. That's what it meant. Okay, so we'll select it. We'll scroll down to the bottom, and boom, there it is. It's an NDI camera, 192.168.1.217 HDMI camera. Let's, for grins, let's pull up NDI Studio Monitor. And we'll put this up here where we can see it. And this is the Bird Dog cam itself, right there. And then we can see this is this camera right here. And then this is the encoder of the Bird Dog camera of HDMI. So there we are there. So we've got a great way to convert an HDMI camera to NDI for about, I think about $130. Now, for people like Michael, who was saying before that he had used the Bird Dog Mini, which is HDMI to NDI, HDMI to NDI. But that's all it does, HDMI to NDI. One of the nice things about this little guy is it also does SRT. So let's go back there and see what we can see about SRT. Do we have, yeah, we've got sharpen on that one. Okay, so let's blow this up just a little bit so that we can see it a little more clearly. There we go. I think that'll do. That's right. That's what we want. All right, so we want to do a stream, and we want to do an SRT configuration. The channel name is HDMI, okay. And let's do a rendezvous. And the IP, Can we just do it on our own network? What's the IP address of my PC? Oh, that would be two, if I could do two different streams. So we'll just do mode, we'll do IP 68.1. What is my PC? Let's look it up here real quickly. See if we can find out. Task manager, performance, Ethernet. Does it give me an address? Yeah, 114. Okay. So let's try 114. Port 901, latency 50, password don't have it. Let's enable that one. So let's save it. And now let's go into vMix and see if we can set up a rendezvous port. SRT rendezvous, host name. I think we gave it the wrong name. Let's go back here and change. Let's change this one to whatever it is. What is it, 127? No, 217. Okay, there we go. Off, on, port 9001. Okay, we're saving it again. We'll come back here, add an input. SRT, rendezvous, host name, that's me, right? Or is that them? 192.168.114. We'll just try it. .1.114. Port 901. I don't know how to do this. Latency 50. So we got it right there. There it is. It's not doing anything. Yep. Okay, so we don't know how to use that. That was good. That was good. So SRT probably works. You do have some other options there too. A transport stream. Oops, can't click on that. There we go. Stream configuration. Push configuration. That's interesting. Never used that before. And a play URL. That's cool. That's cool. Greg is saying in the chat that the NDI only works as a demo for 30 minutes unless you buy an add-on NDI license. That's interesting. Wouldn't know how to do that. I mean, would you get that from New Tech? Otis is here. Welcome, Otis. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Let's see, going back, here on the overlay tab, we do have the ability to set some overlays. Let's see. Looks like I played with some of these before in the past. Golly, wouldn't want to play with them again. And let's see, we can extend vMix NDI, NDI decode. Huh. Well, let's try an NDI decode. Main enable, yes. Source name is burden text. And source list. Let's take the PTZ optics camera. So we'll say display. What if we select it first and then say display? There we go. So we're decoding it. It looks a little, yeah, it looks a little, even to me, it looks a little glitchy. So yeah, all right, so let's go back to extend. Looks like we've got all sorts of other toys to play about. Yeah. So back to the dash. We can see it's still doing an NDI receive down here and an HDMI send. Is that active? It's as active as it's going to be. Obviously, frame rate is really degraded. So let's turn the NDI decode off. We'll turn that off. Come back and see on the dashboard here. Yeah, that's still a little, at least on that it's glitchy. But let's go back to the live shot. This is the camera right here over HDMI through this guy to NDI to vMix. So we'll let this keep going and see how long it takes for it to time out. If it's a 30-minute timeout, we've been going for about maybe 10 minutes with this plugged into NDI. It didn't take long to get it up and configured for NDI. But yeah, that's the thing. So we'll keep going on that one. The point I'm making with this video is that there are little gidgy gadgets like this one that we can have in our kit that are going to be those things that kind of fill in the gap when we have, for example, this little guy can stream. So if all of a sudden, for some reason, your PC is not able to stream, but you can get an HDMI output from it, or an NDI output from it, that it can be decoded here and streamed, you've got an option. You've got an option. It's about keeping your options open. But like any other piece of gear, you have to really know the gear in order to take advantages of it. You can't wait until you need it to learn it. And that goes with, I was talking with somebody yesterday, and they had a nice setup. This was a municipality that owned a baseball venue. I would say, maybe AA-ish. AA, Major League Baseball, USA. So it was a nice stadium. They had a PTZ camera in the outfield, a PTZ camera behind, kind of behind home plate, really more in the press box. And then they had a couple of other cameras scattered about. And lightning had hit the camera out in center field. And they thought the camera was toast. So they replaced it with the exact same brand and model camera. And it didn't work right. The image was upside down because the PTZ camera was mounted upside down in one of those DotWorks weatherproof enclosures. And it had all this data on the screen, the overlay that tells you the time and the date and the protocols and this and that and the other. And they were like, what do we do? What do we do? They didn't know their gear. It was their gear, but I guess, would you call them a reseller or a value-added reseller? An integrator, that's probably the best word. An integrator had sold it to them as part of a scoreboard system. And so they could, put replays up on a scoreboard and live stream this using this cameras and actually a PC running vMix. And they thought they had a problem with vMix, which is why they were referred to me. And of course, it wasn't a vMix problem, it was a camera problem. And it wasn't just a camera problem, because once we got the camera flipped right side up and had the overlay taken off, some on-screen overlay menus allowed us to find that stuff. And it didn't have common names like overlay or flip or anything like that. I forget what they call it now. But the problem was the video wasn't coming from the camera to vMix. We could see it through the web interface, the IP address of the camera, but it wasn't showing up in vMix. It did not appear that it had a SDI cable running from center field to the vMix PC. It definitely had Ethernet, which made me think maybe it was using NDI. But, you know, I tried every NDI tool that I could find, including vMix, of course, but NDI was not to be found. And the gentleman I was working with had some photos that he had taken, or maybe he had had the engineer take. I don't remember. I guess they were his, because they were on his phone, of the inside of the enclosure when he went up to, and the enclosure was the kind of thing that it wasn't easy to get to. It took a cherry picker, which is, you know, one of those bucket trucks that lifts you, you know, 40 feet up in the air. And so he was up in the cherry picker, and he popped the clear glass down so that he could see inside, and had just taken pictures of lots of things. And one of the things was the back of the camera. And sure enough, attached to the back of the camera was Ethernet, PoE, and an SDI cable. I called it coax for him because it was something that he understood, and it was the same, you know, kind of the same type almost. And right behind the camera, just peeking out behind the camera, was the tip of an enclosure. Not this one, but it was a little box, and it had half of a chrome circle on it, but you couldn't see the rest of it. And it was a Magewell. It was a Magewell NDI encoder, SDI to NDI converter. And that probably, like the camera that got hit by lightning, or they thought, that's probably what stopped functioning. So they have ordered another one. They're putting it in, but they didn't have a clue about any of this stuff. They were asking me, you know, and I just, frankly, got lucky because I could see just a tip of an encoder, and I recognized it as a Magewell encoder. So they're going to put that in, and then if it pops right up and works, I'll never hear from them again. Well, except when they pay my bill. But if it doesn't, then I'll go in and help them configure it when it arrives. I think it's supposed to arrive to this afternoon or first thing in the morning. And they will get back in business because they've got a big baseball tournament this weekend. So it's good to know your gear. I guess the corollary to that is, if you don't know your gear, it's good to know someone that does know your gear. And the corollary to that one is, if you don't know your gear and you don't know someone who knows your gear, you need to know someone who can figure stuff out. That's me. That's me. We live in the real world where you have to find real solutions. And it was funny yesterday. It was like, okay, if you've got to do something tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to take your web interface for this camera, which shows the video, and we're going to screen capture that in vMix. And it was an outfield camera, and it's probably going to be fixed at home plate, and maybe the frame rate would have been a little wonky, but it was better than not having anything at all. But fortunately, they didn't have to do anything last night, so we didn't have to use that, that last chance, go or no go kind of thing. And it was kind of funny, All right, so we're up on about 17 minutes on this camera, and we're still going strong on it. So we'll see. Yeah, I think it was about 5 minutes after the hour is when I was able to do it. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if it times out, and see if it has a warning when it times out. It doesn't say anything here in the interface. Let me bring the interface back up. It doesn't say anything in the interface. Here we're on the dashboard, and there's the preview of the camera, and we're up to 53 degrees. We'll go back to the encode section. Advanced video encode. No, all of those are off. The only one on this that's on is this one. I'm not sure where it's really going. We've got the stream, and the transport is off. The HLS is off. The SRT will turn off. The NDI, I guess we should save that. The The NDI is on, but you would think they would have some sort of warning there to tell you that it wouldn't work. What was that? We'll go back to English. Options, system, LAN, Wi-Fi, password, auto reboot, upgrade. Well, there's an upgrade. Yeah. Port configuration, network assist, extend, NDI decode, overlays, stream. Yep, that's it. That's all we've got right there. No mention. Oh, well, let's go back. That's just back takes us back to the dashboard. Yep. So no mention that we're going to be timed out after 30 minutes, but that would have been nice. Maybe it was on the documentation, the paperwork that came with it. Like I kept the paperwork that came with it. Yeah. So, oh, I meant to tell you guys earlier, two things. One is there was a nice comment on last week's video talking about the audio. And somebody had said they much preferred the boom mic, the shotgun mic, the Audio-Technica AT897 that we'd used prior to starting using this. We started this, I guess, last spring, not this past spring, but the spring before, because we used these very successful, many thanks to Greg in part, at NAB doing streams or recordings, I guess. Well, maybe they were live. I don't remember now. Anyway, doing different presentations at different booths at NAB, and we used this little guy to connect into the camera to give it audio that we could pass around. That was the purpose of that. And tried it when I got back to the studio, and it worked really well. This is the Hollyland, let me find the box here. Hollyland Lark Max. And it's nice. Got two mics. Everything is battery powered, and the little case itself has USB port on it. And anytime you take anything in or out, it tells you how much battery is left. In this case, 3/4. But the reason I got all to mention of this is that the comment last week was that my audio was distorting. Too hot, I think. And you can tell me what you think right now. Michael says the boom mic has better quality except when you move around, which means your mini mic is better for the show. Exactly. I like not being tethered, and so not having a physical cable attached to me, which is why I like the boom mic so much, which I've got, I've got it right here. It's here if we want it. But, yeah. But I also like being able to move around the studio if I have different things in different places and I don't have to shout or have a second mic, which means, turning them off and on and either having no audio or dual audio and echo and all that. Anyway, he said last week you were distorting. And I had problems previously with this little guy not getting enough volume out of it. And so I must have turned everything up really high in the mic interface, not in vMix. Because in vMix, you know how when you've got an input, it gives you an opportunity on that input. Let me pull this one up here where I can see it. To take the device volume and bring it to 100%. That is, you're passing through 100% of the audio that vMix is receiving. No gain, a 50 millisecond delay. The plug-in is an NS1 stereo, which is the Waves audio noise suppressor. It's set at 10 on a scale of 0 to 100, so it's not taking out much noise, except when I don't talk. But even then, there's not much noise here. I've done a good job here in the studio of muffling the audio. In fact, my PC is literally just slightly more than an arm's length away, and it has no cover. So everything is out in the open, but it's an airborne airborne fan. And the GPU, of course, has 3 fans on it, but they're really, really quiet. The other thing about the audio is I've got a little bit of EQ on the low end. And he said, you were distorting. I went back and listened to the video, and I would agree. It was clipping just a little bit. And I fired it up again this morning, and everything was low, I thought. I mean, looking at the volume meter in vMix, it was on the low side. And so I checked on the mic itself. There's not a setting for volume on the mic. It's on the receiver, this being the transmitter. And the receiver was set to this mic at 10, which was his volume, and the gain at 1. But there was a 0 gain. So I dialed the gain back to 0, and I dialed the mic back to, I think, 8, maybe. So from 10 to 8 and from 1 to 0. So it should have lowered the volume here. So we'll see. I'm interested to see the recording and see whether it sounds like last week's audio or whether it's an improvement. I didn't take time to test it this morning when I was setting up for this show. Okay, let's go back to our camera here. So we're at 25 minutes, and we're still got audio at the camera. You can see my desk is a mess with all sorts of other little gear things that I'm working with, like a cell phone. You've probably never seen one of those before. Okay, we are over show time. Let's go to the post show, and we'll continue to monitor this. And so I'll be right back. All right. Okay, yeah, let's take that off. We need to do a trigger to take that off. So this is Greg's mention of the 30-minute timer for the camera. And let's find the little camera. Yep, there it is right there. And in fact, let's just pop that camera. That's number 87. We're going to pop that into a layer on this guy, number 87. There we go. And we'll reset everything. It's going to take over the screen, but we'll just bring it right up there where we can keep an eye on it. Oh, and has it timed out? Let's go to it live. It has now timed out. How about that? Here's what the camera looks like on the close view. Ooh, because I've told vMix I want it to zoom in. Let's reset that. There we go. So that's the full shot. And then here's the shot from the camera coming out of the converter. So yeah, that's live. That was live. So Greg is entirely correct. And it also means probably that we got that camera online faster than I thought. So yeah. So thank you, Greg, for that. Good to know. Michael likes the boom mic. Truth be told, I think it sounds better too. But the mic is hot. Whenever you bend forward, could be mount a little lower on the chest. Ah, okay. Let's try that. That's a good idea. Thank you. try it right there. We'll go there. See how that does. It's actually out of sight now. So we'll see. But it's not clipping. But when I bend over, it is. Or it gets louder. Yeah, I could get that. 20 decibels may be the sweet spot. Okay, let's see. Well, I don't want to do that live because I'm liable to screw it up. Rule number 1, lots of luck. Hey, Rich. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Rich shared a message with me today. And let's see if I can find it. And it was a video. Can I download that? Let's see. Well, we'll just screen capture. This is what Rich sent me today. Of course, it doesn't have any audio with it because we don't have any audio. Oh, there we go.
City of Sparks, Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority, Commander, Bullet, Fast Power Sports, Jet Trim, Sold, Brian Gust, Toyota Corp, Quick Change Liquid Energy, Sideways Designs, Dirty Delta Performance, Timblo, Jet Pump Bit, Top End Unlimited, Reno Hair Extensions, Kettle King Kettle Corn, Pete's Meat BBQ Coffee Company, Title Shot Cafe, Valley Eats Mobile Eatery, Renewal by Anderson, and Kid Strong Reno. Wild West Watercross appreciates you watching our races, and please make sure to visit our great sponsors.
Pretty impressive, Rich. Good job, my friend. We might have to try something like that. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. And Greg has given us a link to the NDI license. So here we go. Here is the LinkPi ENC HDMI encoder, HDMI decoder, HDI license. And can we get just the license? This is just the license. It shows different encoders here that would take the license. How about that? So for $126, we could get a license for that. I like it. I like it. Glad to have it. Thank you for sharing, Greg. Will a reboot of the box turn the NDI back on? I bet it will. Let's check. We're going to unplug it, let it power down. So Rich says that he is experimenting this weekend with a bunch of AI-generated B-roll shots. Interesting, interesting. Why don't you come on the show one time and share that with us, will you? Let's plug this guy back in and see what happens. Takes him a while to reboot. How cool is that? Oh, Michael, looks like you may have a buyer for those videos. Yes, I agree, Bill. I agree. But will it replace you and me? Me, probably. But not you. In fact, wouldn't that be cool to do a whole show in AI? I bet we could do that. That would be fun. Why does the same link for Greg say 136? Don't know. Well, let's see. Let's go back to this one, and I'll say this is ships to Spain. So maybe if we ship it, can we change that? Ship to USA, Alabama, apply. There we go. I bet that looks more like what you were expecting. 136.35. Yeah. So yeah. I thought I was just privileged, but yeah. All right, Ken. Michael, you want to send me an email and I'll forward it on to Ken? Or Ken, you want to send me an email? I'll forward it on to Michael. It can't be that much. What? 30 bucks? Don't know. What type of mic was that? Yeah, let's see. We have it on here. Did I save it? Or is it gone? Oh, wrong one. Let's go here, 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 here. And it's a headset of some sort. Let's see. What about some of the others? Looks like the same mic. Yep. So you'll all have to check that out on your own for sure. Well, Michael, I think it was Rich, not Greg. Greg has been on the show. Rich has been on the show too. Bill said that we couldn't be replaced by AI. Yes, there we are. So is the NDI back on? Let's check. Yes, the NDI is back on. Look at that. So you could just disconnect it every 29 minutes, you know, cut to another camera for a minute and then let it reset. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Did you compare the latency between NDI SRT and RTSP? Well, SRT is going to be whatever you set it to be. NDI, let's see, is the clap. Well, let's put both hands up here where we can see them. How do we do that? I've added 50 milliseconds of latency to this camera. I mean, to my audio for that camera, and it looks like it's about the same. It looks like it's about the same. But I haven't tried SRT or RTSP, Rich. I mean, Ken. Bill says AI is treated like a staff member. Trust but verify. I think the first person I ever heard say that was Ronald Reagan. Did you note the one lady holding a mic also wearing a headset mic? No, I didn't. Let's go back and look. Yep, you're right. There we go. So maybe her mic died, you know, and you had to throw a real mic at the last minute. Has that ever happened to you, Greg? You know it has. Okay. Audio Technica. AT. Yep, there it is right there. AT 897. And I've actually got 3 of these. One for here, one for the Small studio over there, and then a spare in the closet. I've got one of everything in the closet, I think. Look at this guy. 30 minutes or $136. And it still clicks and buzzes away. Yep. Don't know. I don't think SRT requires a license. RTSP. Don't know enough about that. Ken, these are available on Amazon. I think if you'll just search encoder ENC1 and let's see if I can put a link in there without getting, yeah, there it is right there. We'll do a link, copy. That is an affiliate link, by the way, if you're interested. So, and we'll put it here as well. There we go. I think I make a 4% commission on that. So on $130 or whatever it is. Where is it? Amazon. 119. Yeah. I make $4.50. Woohoo. Thank you very much. So Audio-Technica. What's the question about Audio-Technica? Teardex for your mic in the closet. The mic in the closet is simply a spare. It came from, there was a show on several years ago called Live Streaming Pros. And it was a guy and a gal, and they split up. And she kept the show, and I guess the gear, which was probably all donated to her. And then and she had a clearance sale and sold it all off. So it was a mic. It was the exact same mic I had already, and it was on a great deal, so I snapped it up. Because you never know when you need an extra mic. All right, Greg says, license only required for NDI. All other modes are unlocked. Well, there you go. And Dave says, it should be unlocked if it says NDI. Well, Dave, it's coming from China. Although I don't know the link I sent you is coming from China. Might be coming from a company called Weipon Dev. Let's see where they're located. Yep, Weipon Dev is in China. So, you know, all bets are off. They're gonna clone whatever they want. They're just gonna steal it. You know, who's gonna tell them they can't? But they'll sell you a license. They'll sell you a license. It doesn't say that it's licensed, but it doesn't say that it's unlicensed. Dave said the link took him to Zowie Tech. Is that the link in the chat? Let's see. Or the link in the YouTube. I'm checking. Yeah, the link in the chat should take you to the LinkPi ENC1. I think I didn't know about this one at Showtime, and so I picked out one that looked like this one, but it wasn't exactly the same. It's a newer, or should I say different version. So yeah. That's the link that goes to the one that I've got here. The show also got a like thumbs up from me. Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. And Dave says you buy the unit with HDMI only. Yes. HDMI in, HDMI out. No SDI. No SDI. Although, you know, it's interesting. I was playing with a Blackmagic Decklink Mini Monitor HD the other day to test the outputs. And in vMix, you can set, when you're doing an external output, you can set the source. You know, composite, component, S-video, you know, all that kind of stuff. HDMI, SDI. And so I was just testing that card on all those settings. Well, when I put it, I think, I'll double check, but when I put it on SDI, but I was connected to HDMI, I got a signal on HDMI. When I put it on, it was oh golly, I've forgotten what it is now. Let's see if I've got, no, I don't have one attached. Anyway, it was like a DVI output, and it came out as HDMI. So who really knows what goes on behind the scenes? The affiliate link in the description is a better deal. I think, yeah, I think. But I see this as a problem solver. I don't know that I would have, I don't know, I might rely that, you know, if I was looking for a streamer that I wanted to stream, I had the bandwidth and I wanted to stream to a 6th destination with vMix, and I could stream through this little box to solve a problem for that particular day. It'd be nice to have in my kit. That's the thing. And Michael, thank you for reminding everybody to give a thumbs up, because there's somebody out there that's going to buy this little guy thinking that oh, it's already timed out again. Yeah, it's already timed out again. Did I unplug something? Oh, I think the Ethernet was unplugged. Let me try again. Let me reset the whole thing again. Some of my Ethernet cables here in the studio, I've broken the little locking tab off, because on some of the bird dog cameras especially, the locking tab, you almost have to send a tip of a knife blade in there or something to press the locking tab down to get it out. So I said, I'm just going to pull all these guys out. Not all of them, but some of them. And occasionally it bites me on the butt. Description says native NDI HX3 certified. This one is, which is now working, is not NDI HX 1, 2, or 3. It is, is there a way I can gauge the amount of bandwidth it's using? I bet I can guess at it. Let's go to Task Manager for just a minute. And we're going to go to Performance, and we're going to go to Ethernet. And we're going to see down here at the bottom. Oh, well, you can't see the bottom because I've blocked the bottom. So let's bring it up here. That I'm receiving 105. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. So what did I do to get there? Somehow I got my Task Manager all messed up. Let's close it and try again. All right, so we're on the Ethernet page. Yeah, 103, 104. So I think I'm getting full NDI. because I think the bird dog camera is giving me NDI HX. So I think the encoder is giving me this. So yeah. ENC4 is the 4-input SDI version. They have other models with SDI too. All right. Gaff tape, that's right. Or friction. Encoder web page has a status monitor. All right. We've got that here somewhere. All right, status monitor, system state, network state. Network is really teeny. And we've got, it's working. I mean, we've got output here. This is the NDI input. The preview is not live. What if we refresh the page? Maybe it would. Yeah. It was just timed out. All right, so the network state is 27 to 36, right there. Core temp, memory use, CPU usage, encode. I don't think we've got any data here. Yeah. Yeah, the dashboard is the only place. So maybe it is. I'm going to look at the camera itself. I mean, the output on the camera right here says nothing helpful. Gives me the IP address, the HDMI resolution and frame rate, audio, which is 0, BR, which is okay. What is BR? And CPU 44 and temp 52. And there's an A switch and a B switch. Let's go to B. That didn't do anything. Although it might take a second for it to take effect. Yeah, don't see anything here. But it looks like, 25 megabits per second. So maybe that's not right there. 25 megabits per second. So maybe it's not full NDI. And that's the full network state. That's not what Task Manager is showing. Task Manager was showing 100, probably 110 when you put the send and the receive together. So there you go. GPU, 47%. All right. Go figure. Yes, indeed. BR, bitrate. Thank you, sir. Bitrate says okay. So yeah, there we go. Are we still live? Yes, we're still live-ish. Live-ish until I pull out a plug by accident. All right. Well, cool. Well, interesting. Nice. It's fun to play with this little stuff. I think it's fun to play with this a lot. Even though I don't understand all of it, it's fun to play with. And I don't think I can break it. I don't think you can I don't think it's got firmware that's updatable. Although, well, let's go back and look at the page and see. Yeah, there it is. So dashboard, interface, preview, options, extend, video mix, ROI, return on investment. Oh, region of interest. Okay. Video carousel, multiple push, serial button, H5 player. No, none of that looks like anything to do with advanced config, video config, audio config, network stream. Streams. Yeah, nothing in any of that looks like any way to update any firmware. There may be, but it may be outside of this dashboard. So yeah. Still working though, because I haven't unplugged it. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. It's been a lot of fun. And I will see you next week. Let me get my calendar up in here in front of me. I'll see you next week and the week after that. But then I'll be gone on the 27th. Actually coming to Europe, to Portugal with my brother and sister-in-law and my wife Sandy and I. So it'll be sort of an old fogey trip to Portugal, where we walk slowly and people tell us, get out of our way. Probably not really, but anyway, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Don't forget, Michael says, give me a thumbs up. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Take care.